All right. Well, welcome everyone to our meeting tonight, our last meeting of the quarter, which is Let's Get Together Event Planning in PR. And we'll start off with Eboard Introductions. I am Taylor and I am the chapter president.
I'm Juliet. I'm the faculty advisor.
I'm Nifer, and I am the VP of Digital.
And Bree is having tech issues, but she is the VP of DE&I.
I'm Holly. I'm the VP of Events.
I'm Pavitra. I'm the VP of Social.
I was muted. Hi, I'm Giselle. I'm the VP of Communication.
All right, and now we'll hand it off to Professor Regis to talk about his class.
Hey, Taylor. Hey, everybody. Professor Matt Regis. I promise to keep this nice and short so we can hand things off to our last panel of the quarter. I just wanted to make a really quick announcement. If you're interested in freelancing, side hustles, maybe starting your own business, working for a startup, I hope you'll consider joining us in winter quarter. I teach this once a year. I think I've been teaching it now for about 10 years. Pratt Entrepreneurs, it is an elective. We are back to face-to-face winter quarter Wednesday evenings. The Loop campus, you will learn the basics of business and entrepreneurship and innovation. You're almost guaranteed to have fun. You have a lot of great alums actually that have come through this class. So just looking on here, Taylor's taken the class, Pavitra, Bree, I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. I would love to have DePaul PRSSA folks in there. This year's class client, if you're looking on the screen, you're like, who is that goofy looking dude on the right? That is me. This year's class client is Mikowski's Real Sausage that is based in Bridgeport. It's a 100-plus-year-old family business. The CEO and owner of the business is on the left. That is Nicole Mikowski. She is awesome. She bought the business from her family at the age of 23. She's owned it for the last 20 years. Does anyone know Portillo's? Familiar with Portillo's? Oh, yeah. The Portillo's Polish sausage is Mikowski's. So a lot of different restaurants around town, as well as nationally through Portillo's, is Mikowski's. She is now in Costco. So she's in Costco through Chicagoland. And it's actually a great class client to work on because she's excited for our ideas. And actually, this is their off season. So working on this in winter means actually that we can implement ideas in the spring and summertime for them. So it is a woman-owned, family-owned business. If you're interested, I'm happy to share the syllabus, answer questions.
The event planning thing.
You can email me. You got me on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Most weeks we'll have guest speakers. I can promise you that we'll also do at least one offsite visit to 1871 in the Connectory in Merchandise Mart, which is great that we're back, as much as I love online face-to-face. And I'll just pause there and just really briefly open it up for questions. And then I want to keep things moving. I appreciate y'all letting me visit. Any questions?
So, Maddie,
Is it off?
you gonna call to see if we could get Mikowski's at the Taste of Chicago for 2022, Mikowski's Day at Taste of Chicago? Is that a PR strategy that we could absolutely implement immediately, Matt?
I think we know the guy, Neil Heights. So what's interesting, I would tell you about Mikowski's is she's really been more business to business. So brands that Neil will know, like Kimski and Duck Inn, use their products, and Costco is new for them going B2C. And I'm a big food nerd, as some of y'all know, so I actually like hunt down, like, where did you get this sausage at? And that's how I kind of found her and learned about her. But yeah, I love that. I love that idea, Neil. She's really open to ideas. I think there's a question from M.
I was just wondering if you're offering it, if it's offered every winter quarter, like will it be offered next year as well?
Yeah, generally I teach this just once a year. It's an elective, and it's usually offered in winter quarters. So if you don't catch it this winter, the university seems to be stuck with me, and the class does well. And so, yeah, I look forward to teaching this each year, Emma. It'd be great to see you in there.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, gang? If not, I just want to wish y'all all the best on final projects, final assignments, and all that good stuff.
All right, well, thank you. All right, and now we'll move on to our panel for today. So I'll hand it off to Bree and Melania.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My apologies for my tech difficulties. Is Melania on here? Okay. Okay, so we'll just jump right into it. We'll start off with Neil Heights. How did you get into event management?
Jumping right in with the tough questions. I think hello everybody. I'm really happy to be here tonight. It's very nice to be part of PRSSA, and I certainly appreciate the invitation. My fast answer, I think it had something to do with being a really big fan of bringing lots and lots of people together to have lots and lots of good times. I probably never thought of it as much of a career until my world kind of started opening up, and I started going to things like Taste of Chicago and started going to events and being part of really large scale fun festivities. Did it even occur to me that, you know what, maybe you can make a living doing this? And so now I'm like a moth to a flame, and have spent the last almost 20 years of my life in the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, formerly known as the Mayor's Office of Special Events, putting together all of the city's sort of largest celebrations. And I am, in normal years of life, the manager of Taste of Chicago. But more recently, I've worked on projects like the Sky Rally and Parade. That was tons of fun a couple of weeks ago. And right now I'm coordinating November 19th, the city's tree lighting ceremony in Millennium Park. We just found a tree in Logan Square, pulled it on Friday, and brought it down today to Millennium Park, and putting together a whole host of activities for November 19th. Fast answer, Sabrina, is that I just really like bringing people together to have fun.
Awesome. You know what, Neil? And I have to apologize. I'm trying to get myself together from being awake for 36 hours. But I meant to ask you to introduce yourself, because you are the preeminent Taste of Chicago guy, Lollapalooza, the air show. I want to hear more about you. I mean, you hit on it a little bit, but can you give us that? And we are graced at DePaul to have you as one of our very own professors. So I want you to really to tell us about that.
I mean, you know, so first of all, not Lollapalooza. Let's just be really clear, everybody. I'm not the Lolla guy. Definitely not the Lolla guy. As far as me personally, Sabrina, is that what you're asking?
Yes.
What? Yeah. I mean, you know, I did go to. I grew up in the south suburbs, so I went to Providence Catholic High School in New Lenox. I went to University of Illinois at Chicago. I was supposed to be a high school English teacher. I don't know how that worked out. I ended up getting a degree in literature. Again, I don't really know how that worked out. But I did work at a bank, and I worked at a bank, and I ended up being nominated by all the employees at the bank, first to be the vice president, and second to be the president of what was called Standard Bank and Trust Fellowship Club. And the fellowship club was designed to bring all the employees together to produce some, good morale building events for all the employees of the bank. So it was like a dinner dance, like a prom. It was like going to the White Sox game, golf outings, theater nights, whatever. It was a volunteer gig. And I was like, yeah, I'll do this. This is fun. And it was fun. And it was at that point, then I started getting my master's at DePaul, public relations and advertising, because like the English literature thing kind of wasn't really working out for me. And so then when I was getting my master's degree, it all sort of came together. Like there was an opening in the mayor's office of special events for an internship. 26 years old, I became an intern. Went from $50,000 a year to like $9 an hour. It was like a really great financial move in my life. And but I did get hired full time 6 months, 7-8 months later after all the bureaucratic red tape. And I was able to stick it out. And I always said I wanted to be the manager of Taste of Chicago. I wanted to manage one of like the city's biggest, funnest things. And I waited my turn in line. The woman who managed Taste before me started in the office in 1983 and didn't retire until 2017. And so I literally got there in 2005 and did a whole bunch of other stuff. And when the opportunity presented itself, I was promoted and got that job in 2018, beginning of 2018. So that's the fast answer. Is that what you were looking for?
Yes, that was perfect. Thank you so much.
Good.
And Lauren, can you introduce yourself and really give it to us?
Of course, yes. I am Lauren Davis. It's great to be here. Nice to see all of your smiling faces. I am currently an account supervisor for a company called Turnkey DOT, which is an experiential and logistics company that is in Lincoln Park. There, I basically oversee a small staff. It's a relatively new company. They'll be 6 years old next month. So, and we basically help to handle bringing different companies' assets and events from city to city across the nation. So it's super exciting, always a challenge having to coordinate drivers and DOT hours, which is something I never thought I would ever have to deal with in events. But much like Neil said, bringing people together and seeing events come to life and just the joy that's on people's faces when they're attending things, that's really, really what got me. Prior to my current role, I was at Carol Fox & Associates, which is a PR and marketing agency in Lakeview, that's where I met Melania. Melania interned for me when I was there. And there I was doing mainly nonprofit events, some openings for art galleries. We did Art on the Mart, the launch of Art on the Mart, which is one of my greatest event memories. And then prior to that, I was actually at CBS Radio. So Neil, while we haven't worked directly together, I know with WXRT, doing Taste of Chicago and things like that, putting on events there was super fun. I grew up in the northwest suburbs in Arlington Heights, went to John Hersey High School, which is where I took a sports marketing and events class. And that's kind of what really sparked my interest. I wanted to do sports marketing. I went to Columbia in the city and then interned at CBS Radio with their sports radio station and kind of just grew and accelerated there. So now I'm in Lincoln Park and I just really love everything about events. I think my career has really kind of gone into multifaceted sort of different areas of events. So I feel like I'm pretty well-rounded and just happy that the industry is back to thriving again. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lauren. And also I'm going to have Jennifer tandem with me with the questions. So the next question, the next question is what do you love about working in event management and planning? And we'll go with Neil.
Yeah, sure. So, what do I love about it, right? I think Lauren did a really good job of saying, all the things to love about it, right? All the end result. The end result is I mean, 99% of the satisfaction is the end result and seeing what you deliver and, you know, a finished product. You know, I love the start and end of an event, right? Like I love the planning and the strategic thinking, the ideation and brainstorming and research and all of that cool stuff, right? And then I love that it's over too. I love that it's over, and I love that you then like start that process all over again. It's sort of a the start and stop of it is actually a really, for me, it's a really good work pattern because, you know, I work on events that are you know, annual events, right? Long time over and over. And so I like that it breaks up, you know, it breaks up my calendar, it breaks up my year. And so I really feel good about A, the end result, B, I like the calendar, the way that the events, when you work on annual events, and then C, I like that it is a finished product, that you're always looking at a finished product. And I think that actually makes it very interesting for me.
Okay. And how many events do you do each year, would you say you work on?
In a normal non-COVID, end of the world year, I would say, well, here actually in a COVID year, actually this year we did 57 events in 97 days.
Wow.
Summer, and that was a grind. I mean, that was absolutely a grind. But we knocked it out. And when I say event, right, I am including a concert in Millennium Park. The workout, I manage the workout program like on Saturday mornings in Millennium Park. So like one Saturday of the 8-week series counts as one, right? So 57 events in 97 days was this summer. And that was pretty intense, not gonna lie.
That sounds intense. Lauren, what do you love about working in event management planning?
I love, like I said, the finished product, seeing the happy faces and everybody enjoying what you've put together. And also just in event planning, I mean, no 2 days are ever the same. I feel like you, part of loving events is loving problem solving and trying to figure things out because things don't always go to plan, as we all know. So that's kind of like, to me, that's kind of fun, you know, figuring it out, making sure that everything does go well. And especially to whether it's a client or the attendees of events, making sure that they don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It's kind of top secret, figuring it all out and just delivering a nice polished product to everybody. And yeah, it's exciting and fun. It's fun at the end of the day. You know, your events are a fun thing that we're all very lucky to get to go to or get to be a part of. And not everybody's job can be fun. So I feel lucky that I'm in that industry.
That's awesome. I can feel your excitement. And how many events have you done this year?
This year, definitely similarly, it's been a mix of kind of a half COVID year, half not, mix of virtual events and in person and things like that. I would probably say thus far between 40 and 50, a mix of, again, the virtual and putting on panel discussions. And then with Turnkey DOT, we do touring events. So we did a huge tour with Hydrofacial, which is a facial company, and they did 10 different stops across the nation of multi-day activation. So yeah, very exciting and again, good to be back out there and see people coming out and enjoying things.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I guess our next question. So for maybe for students who they're sort of unsure of what area or what niche of PR they want to get into, is there anything that you would suggest for them to do to maybe find some brands or companies or just sort of like different like work styles or project styles that they might be interested or passionate about?
Yeah, I can start. I think kind of take a look at things that you're interested in. If you like to work out or if you're an animal lover, things like that, and try to see if those areas are where you can tap into, because if it's something that you're passionate about, you're going to enjoy it more. And I think don't be afraid to try anything. I feel like so many people, we have imposter syndrome and we don't think that we might be qualified for something. But I say, get out there and try it and apply for whatever you think is going to work for you. Or even if you think it might be a little out there, the answer is no, unless you ask and unless you try. So I think just kind of taking chances and taking risks, and sometimes the greatest risks are the greatest rewards. So I think just kind of following your gut and really just putting yourself out there.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with everything that Lauren said. I also encourage you to get out and experience the world, right? Like again, COVID, like, you know, sort of the pandemic aside, I encourage you, like, check out new restaurants and go to art exhibits and new openings, and, you know, really get out there and experience what it is that the world has to offer. I mean, you know, you could be drawn to, you know, like Lauren was talking about sports, you could be drawn to theater, you could be drawn to culinary, you could be drawn to literary. I mean, there's so many great things, so many avenues to go down, so many choices to make, that it's important that you get out there, experience the world, and then start to zero in on what would be the dream job. And I'm a big fan of even spending some time on Indeed, looking at jobs I'm totally not qualified for, right? Really high level jobs, and saying, all right, by time I turn 50, that's the job I want. Or by time I turn 30, that's what I want to do, right? Even though I know I'm not qualified maybe at this point in my life, I'm definitely, you know, past 30 to be honest, you know, so we're all clear here. But, you know, always like looking for like, what's that next thing, right? What's the job that I'm not qualified for now, but I want to be in the future? And what steps am I going to take to become qualified? And I think the thinking about that and the experiences that you find yourself in is a really good curriculum that you can build for yourself. Because, you know, I mean, here at DePaul, right? You guys are going to graduate. You're going to have, you know, grad degrees, which are awesome. But until you sort of figure out what's available in the world and know what other things you're going to have to do to make it, you know, your degree is just one piece of it. I think Lauren could probably agree. A lot of our jobs are based on experience. They're based on relationships. They're based on knowing, you know, again, all these different genres, and, you know, making yourself comfortable and familiar, and then sort of building those skill sets from there.
If I can just piggyback to what you just said about relationships, I think talk to as many people as possible and learn about other people and what they're doing, because that might trigger something in you that says, that sounds awesome, I want to do that, or I want to learn more about that or something. So I think just building relationships and talking to as many people as possible.
And don't be afraid. Like, look on LinkedIn, right? Like, if anybody on this call has any interest in being part of special events, you are all welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. I am sure Lauren would be just as equally as open to your connections on LinkedIn. But beyond Neil and Lauren, begin to then, you know, literally go through our list of contacts. If there's somebody on there that has a job or has something about their career that's of interest to you, like, put it out there, right? Connect. Ask me to connect. Ask Lauren to connect you. Like, you want to ask people, like, so how'd you get your job? Like, I love your job, sounds like something I'm very interested in. Can I meet with you via Zoom? Can I meet with you for a coffee? Can I find out, are you willing to make a jump on a phone call? And look, I get that sounds weird and awkward and so uncomfortable, especially in a world right now where we're at best talking to computer screens and maybe like a little part-time talking to humans. But like, you've got to just do it. Like, you have to put yourself out there. No one's going to help you unless you've asked for help. So find those jobs, find those people, find those listings that sound exciting and interesting to you, and then figure out how to connect with that human and ask questions. Lauren and I we are obviously on these kinds of calls and obviously part of these kinds of things just because we want to be. There's lots and lots of people like us and that are more than happy to share with you their path, their advice, or how they think that you might be, what you might need to do more to become qualified for these jobs. But you got to reach out.
Absolutely.
Can you both also talk about the pace of event management and maybe not the average day, but like the average process and what that looks like?
Very fast paced. I'll start by saying that I definitely think it depends on how many events you're going to be working on per year and how those overlap seasonally and things like that. But, I think it really starts with taking a look at an event as a whole and sort of dissecting it and seeing what goes into it. Do you need catering? Do you need security? Are you going to need permits? All of that type of thing, and sort of taking a look at your end result and then working backwards, building out a timeline and basically making your list of what needs to get done when, if you need approvals on things, like creative that might be involved, when those need to happen before something goes to print, before it gets sent out. And obviously these days we're dealing with shipments being delayed and all sorts of things like that. So it's really, I think, building out something that you can basically make a checklist and make sure that you're getting everything done. And I'm big on lists. And when I get to work every day, I kind of take a look at the projects and programs that are going on, see what's coming up this week and next, and what needs to get taken care of, and then sort of assessing priority wise what needs to get done today, this morning versus this afternoon, and building things like that and kind of going from there. Things are always going to pop up and sort of throw you for a loop. That can always happen. So kind of making sure that you build yourself some cushion there as well. You never want to be so back to back to back that, you can't make room for something that comes up, even if it's not event related, if it's personal life related, we all have stuff that comes up personally. But yeah, I think definitely timelines and time management is huge for building a successful event.
Awesome.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Number one, I think the cornerstone of every successful event, communication is the cornerstone of every successful event, right? And so figuring out what your communication plan is going to be. And when I say that, when we're in the strategic phase, right? When we're in the research phase and we're starting to put all this stuff together, you start to build out these timelines that you're going to need, and who's involved, what meetings you need to set up, and have that all mapped out, right? Who, like Lauren said, who are the approval process? Who signs off on things? And you only take things so far until you need another approval, right? And so building all of that out, making sure you have a communication plan that is solid. Internal communication. For the production of your event, you need a communication plan. You'll also then need a communication plan to market that event to your stakeholders, right? And whoever that may be, whether it's B2B, B2C, whatever it is. But developing your communication plans, internal and external, is critical at the onset. Knowing your objective is huge, huge, huge in special events. Like if Lauren and I don't know why we are producing an event, we're never going to be successful producing that event, activation, event, whatever it is, right? Because we need to know what is success. And those are the questions that producers need to ask at the beginning of the process. What is success? Because as the producer, if I don't know what success is, Lauren too, right? You're never going to hit the nail on the head. You have to find out what success is and then work yourself backwards. Taylor, to answer your question, what is an average day? There's no average day. Every day, in my opinion, is crazy. It's just managing your chaos, right? But it is an incredibly fast-paced career. I think you just grow to sort of accept it, right? Lauren, I don't know about you, like I don't ever really walk away from my desk totally done, because if I'm done, that means there's 5 other projects that are also start. So just to be clear with everybody, it's not just producing one event and then moving on to the next, right? Like those boxes don't work out that well. Like it's producing one, you're starting one while you're finishing the other, and you're halfway through 3 of them. And that process is very, I mean, for large scale city events, we're on a 13-month planning process, right? I mean, we're planning 22 before you even started 21. Ideally. and, you know, at least with strategic goals in mind and budgets in mind. So you're really just constantly, it's more of a continuum, you know, you're just constantly working through the next event, the next activation, the next thing. A lot of communication, being honest, there's, Lauren, I'm sure your numbers are similar, but in the height of 57 events in 97 days, it wouldn't be unheard of for me to get about 130 emails in a day. And whether or not I'm able to respond to all of them is a whole nother situation. I probably lead or attend easily 15 to 20 meetings, 15 to 20 1-hour meetings a week. And a lot of meetings, a lot of conference calls, a lot of emails, a lot of outbound communication. But that is the job. You know, the being on site and seeing an event actually happen, that's this like very small fraction of what the job is. That's the part that I call cigs and martinis, right? And everyone thinks like our jobs are just like smoking cigs and drinking martinis at these awesome events that we produce, when 95% of the work has been done under neon lighting with Excel spreadsheets and Zoom meetings. That's the real job. Being on site, seeing it all come together, that's just the fun part.
Wow. Okay. So what should someone interested in event management be doing as a student as far as courses, internships? What do you recommend? And I know, Neil, I know you had in class, you had at least 2 or 3 of them. So let's start with you.
So this is like a 2-hour lecture in Prad 320 special event management. So I'll give you the Cliff's notes of that. But it kind of goes back to what I said earlier, right? Like if you're interested in get involved, right? Get involved. As far as classes that you think, I think Prad is obviously, right? I think Prad's the best place to start. And again, I think College of Communication, I think every event manager really, communication is the cornerstone of a successful event. And so communication classes are great. However, I will also say the one part of Prad that I'm always like, I don't know that we do the best job. And because here, guilty, communication major, oh yeah, math, finance, no, thank you. No, like budgets, understanding expenses, revenue, profit, all of those things are very, very important to special events. So I do encourage everybody, you got to suck it up, take an accounting class, take a finance class, be able to have an intelligent conversation about liquidity, cash flow, all those sorts of things. I think it's important. I also think that, taking a class in contract law, really important. The backbone of all special events are contracts. Special events can't move without contracts. I mean, Lauren, I'm sure you spend days buried in contracts. And so really having a good understanding of those legal terms and definitions going to benefit you a ton. If you're not a Prad major, I certainly encourage really good writing. I encourage taking writing courses, but I also encourage courses in the School of Hospitality as well. Like that wine course, everyone should do it. And then it is based on your interest, right? Are you interested in producing comedy? Are you interested in producing theater? Are you interested in producing music events? What types of events are you interested in? You got to get yourself into that world, right? And so finding classes, finding extracurriculars, finding organizations, nonprofits to volunteer for, all part of, in my opinion, how you get yourself in the door to those types of genres and organizations that'll help you to develop a career in special events.
Awesome. How about you, Lauren?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously Neil can speak to the type of classes a bit better than I can, but definitely communications classes. I think I did not take any sort of law or contract classes, and that would have been super helpful because it's everything. It's, you got to dig into those and make sure that you're sussing out everything that might be something that an add-on that you don't need and things like that, and making sure that you understand that stuff completely. Budgeting is another big one. And then I think too, the extracurricular curriculars, and if it's an industry that you want to go into or an area that you want to go into, making sure that you are spending time there and figuring out if that is right for you and making those connections so that when opportunities do arise, you already have a foot in the door, you already have a connection that can lead you to where you want to go. And then with internships, again, just same thing, try everything that you possibly can. I interned with sports radio, I interned at a salon and spa, you know, like things that are very, very different to end up where I am. And I think you can never have too many internships, and all it does is just give you more experience in different areas that ultimately make you a better candidate for the job that you want, and just a better human, really.
Awesome.
I also think, and just to jump in really fast, I also think it's sort of like you need to have a can-do attitude, right? Like even if you are working for a bank or an insurance company or whatever, right? The ones that we're not talking about here, right? Like obviously Lauren did an internship radio, which is great. Like everyone should do an internship, right? In media, I think being involved in media is a great segue into the world of special events. But look for opportunities, right? Is there an opportunity to put together the employee holiday luncheon? Great, do it. Say, I'll do it. You're not going to get paid. You're not going to get paid anymore. Just do it. Jump in feet first. Like, is there something you're working somewhere and they need you to put together the online conference of all the realtors in this particular realtor group? Great. Do you know how to do that? No, you don't know how to do it, but you could Google it. You could figure out how to do this stuff. Like, don't be afraid to set something up. And that could be a corporate dinner, that could be a corporate meeting, that could be the holiday luncheon for all the employees. That could very well be the happy hour on Friday with 40 of your colleagues, right? But jump in, take the initiative, say, I'll do it. Even if you don't know how to do it, you guys, you'll figure it out. Like, none of this is brain surgery. Like, you're not asking to like cut it open and like figure out how the neurons work, right? So like, just jump in and just be excited about figuring it out. I think the other area that I want to point out that I didn't bring up before, graphic design and design in general. I think if I had to do it all over again, I'd probably take a lot more graphic design classes, and I may even take some design classes just to have a little bit of credibility in terms of, the software that goes into all of it. I mean, I still probably could, but just throwing that out there, that's another area that I think you could probably excel in, or at least just a few electives might help you really excel for your career.
Yeah, I think just to piggyback on that, I think if you can take a, wow, now I can't even think of what the program is called that everybody uses to do graphic design.
Illustrator.
Yes, exactly. If you can at least get a background in that, I think that's super helpful just to whip things together when needed. Also, if anyone's not using Canva, I highly recommend diving into Canva and playing around with that, because I know a lot of companies lean on people who can do work in Canva as well.
Awesome. Okay, last question before I open it up to the whole group. Can you walk us through one of the events you've worked on? Neil?
I can start. Yeah, that's fine.
Lauren.
I alluded to it at the beginning. My favorite event that I've worked on, just highlight of my career, hands down, was the opening launch of Art on the Mart in fall of 2018. Was just a really amazing event. I never thought that I would work on something of that capacity. Essentially, when I was at Carol Fox and Associates, we worked with the Merchandise Mart to bring Art on the Mart to life. We had a really great team. Our team basically handled the PR, the graphic design, the social media, the event, pretty much everything that really helped to touch and launch that program for Chicago. We worked with DCase to make it all happen. And for anyone who's not familiar, Art on the Mart is basically art projections across the facade of the Mart that are so beautiful. It's 2.5 acres. It's very lively. They incorporate music with it. And it's really just an exciting thing to have in the city. And in 2018, we shut down a portion of Wacker Drive and brought in a DJ and food trucks and really made it just this fun sort of one night street fest kind of thing for the city. Launched the projections, which were really beautiful. It was about a half hour, and then it ended with a firework finale, which, you know, you can't beat that. That kind of, you know, is just a highlight. It was so amazing. And really it was myself along with that team, but from the event side, you know, I really picked everything up and made it happen with some assistance day of, but it's always cool to see something brand new come to life, because at that, there's no blueprint for it. You don't know, like, you don't know what you don't know. And you're kind of just figuring it out as you go, and to see it, as we've said, to see it all come together at the end is just so rewarding. And then afterwards, when you have that, like, we made it happen, it's great. And you toast that champagne with your team, and it just feels really great. And that'll forever be one of my favorite memories of event world.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren. How about you, Neil?
Yeah, so Lauren, I love that everything that you say. You know, I have a hard time with the word "I" as well when talking about events, right? You keep using the word we. And it's because really, I mean, Lauren and I could get on these meetings and, you know, talk about, you know, our role, but special events, no one person can pull off a special event. I mean, you're talking, I'll give you guys a quick number. Like Taste of Chicago, it generally requires about 300 people to pull off Taste of Chicago. Now, when I say 300, I'm talking about restaurant owners, restaurant workers, management team for Taste, the electricians, the unions, the trades, all of it, right? 300 people. I'm working right now, like I was talking about, on the city's Christmas tree lighting ceremony for the 19th. It's a one-night event. It's from basically 3 p.m. to, let's say, 8 p.m., 5 hours. And I run a weekly call with 49 people that are on this call for one event, one night, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. in Millennium Park, and there's 49 people on this call. Tree lighting is always my favorite event. It's exciting, but so if any of you guys saw, so the city picked out a Christmas tree in Logan Square, and it was I'm the lead on that project on all things Christmas or holiday for the city, and just getting the tree from Logan Square. The fast 2-minute sort of how did that happen, right? So you see it on the news and it's like, oh, city found a Christmas tree. So there's an open process that we use for, yes, Michigan Avenue was shut down way longer than it should have been. That crane operator was new, Matt, and it pissed me off too, because he should have been moving a lot faster to get Michigan Avenue open. Trust me, I heard about it. So here's the thing, like, you, just to pick out a Christmas tree, we open up a whole application process, okay? And we put a call out, and we start doing that in like September. And we put a call out like, hey, does anybody have a Christmas tree? And I put together the requirements for it. And our PR team sort of blasts it out. We use the Sun Times, we get, you know, social media, really try to get a lot of PR around it. Then we start taking the intake in, right? On average in a year, I get about 70 applications. I'll tell you right now, 35 of them are just like people wanting to get these trees taken out of their yards because they're ugly and they're like, they just don't even want, they're half dead. They don't even want them anymore. And so finally it comes down to like this list, and we have a contractor. I hire this like the Brightview Landscaping, start sending them out to like 10 to 15 different trees all around the city, Chicagoland area. Two years ago, I changed the height requirement of the tree so that we end up with the city tree. 2 years ago, we found an awesome tree in the Morgan Park community in the 19th Ward. This year, we found one in Logan Square. Actually, last year, okay, these two, just here, I'm giving you guys some inside baseball. Last year, I found two really good trees. One was in Morgan Park and the other one was in Logan Square. So this year, when it came, and we went with the Morgan Park tree last year. So when it came time in September again for this year, like, hey, we got to open up the process. I'm like, oh God, let's not open up the process. I got a great tree from last year. Let's call her up and see if she wants to do it. Called her up, lady's like, oh, I love it. Yes, this is great. We're like, good, I don't have to do the process, right? So, but just this tree. So I go out, I take a look at this tree. There's power wires going straight across the sidewalk, okay? That's number one. The street is like narrow, like a hallway. There's and it's like one way, there's cars on both sides. It's a super dense city block. So I have to get the union electricians to commit to taking that power wire down. I have to coordinate street closure with Department of Transportation. We have to do a flyer and hire this company to flyer the neighborhood to let people know what's going on, but don't tell them too much because then it'll spoil the surprise. Then we have to file the permits to get the street no parking, right? So we've got no parking all lined up. I get there, we've got to send out a media advisory. We want the press to cover this. We've got to get our spokesperson for Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, a little bit of media training. She's new. Make sure she's feeling really comfortable going in front of the cameras. Got to work with the tree, the family of the tree, to make sure that they don't spill the beans, but also giving them the copy points, do some media training. Connect constantly with the landscaping company to make sure that they're on time, they've rented the crane and the flatbed, and that they're all going to come together at one time so this can all happen. And that was just taking the tree out of Logan Square, you guys. So I'm not even going to go into like all the details of like loading the tree in at Millennium Park today. Thanks, Matt, for Michigan Avenue closure reminders. And then everything that goes into what 49 people are doing to pull off the tree lighting ceremony on 11/19. That was just going to Logan Square and taking that tree out. It was about a 6-hour thing. And like, it was awesome. The tree left, you could see it all online, but it takes a ton of like coordination behind the scenes to make something like that happen. Does that answer your question, Sabrina? I hope so.
She's amazed. It was incredible.
I was gonna say you rendered her speechless.
Oh, there we go. I was gonna say, I was just talking away, but yeah, that was amazing. It sounds very scary, you know, and a little bit formidable, but I'm guessing that as you do it more and more, it just becomes more and more second nature, and you're prepared for it you get more and more prepared for it each time you go through an event. So
that's a good point. That's a great point. And actually keep in mind, it's all communication. I swear to you, all of you, it is all communication. It is all good, solid emails with very specifics. It is phone calls. It is connecting with people. It's relationships. The how to do it, trust me, I've never taken a class on how to remove a tree from a really tight street in Logan Square. I have no forestry skills whatsoever. It's all communication.
Wow.
You guys are doing all the right things by being involved in this club. Trust me.
Great, thank you. Now we're going to open it up to the general body. If anyone has a question, now's the time to ask our experts. Anyone? Oh, go ahead, Holly.
Yeah, so as mentioned before, I'm the VP of events for DePaul PRSSA. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but DePaul PRSSA is hosting our district conference in February, the end of February. And we're bringing in students from, you know, all around the Midwest district to Chicago to acquaint them with Chicago and so forth. So, you know, they're going to be attending this conference and so forth. But what are some other ways that we can help them get acquainted to Chicago aside from, you know, the conference and everything?
I think if you know, basically like create some sort of, I don't know what type of communications you're sending out ahead of time, but any sort of fun things to do, and you can break it out by neighborhood depending on where people are staying, or set up maybe some happy hours or little group meetings at coffee shops or something like that. I think if you guys, since you all are hosting, I think it could be a cool little like get to know you as well, to kind of put together your individual recommendations, or as the PRSSA crew of DePaul, you know, you guys kind of let people know like these are our favorites. We think you should try these spots. I think that's kind of fun, and I feel like people appreciate the personal touches like that.
You know, what comes to mind is, you know how that coffee shop on Jackson is like one of the most Instagrammable, like downtown is like one of the most like the most Instagrammable, I don't know, moment, or one of the most like very widely known on Instagram, right? Like, wouldn't it be fun if you sort of like figured out a list of like 10 like of the most Instagrammed worthy locations in Chicago, and you put together a list of all of those like actual sites, right? And you sent them on like an Instagram tour so that they could see they could see the thing in person. I think Lauren's spot on about like, maybe you even create like 3 different levels, like, regular tourist, adventurous tourist, or and like extreme tourist, right? And so, with your regular tourist, you're talking about Navy Pier, the Bean, the easy stuff, right? But when you're talking about like your extreme tourist, you're sending them to like, some really, look at Matt's Instagram page and you'll see all the restaurants and places that he hangs out at, and you could just put them under the extreme category. But like, it's really thinking about like, or maybe even putting together different like cultural suggestions, right? And like looking at Chicago as the cultural hub that we are, and thinking about what arts and culture, culinary, you could put together. And the other side of it too, right? Chicago's so multifaceted. You could create sports themes. You could create a lot of different 10, and like, look, everybody likes lists of 10, right? Lists of 10 are just the thing. And so if you put together these packages in lists of 10, I think everybody in this group can help support you, Holly, in coming up with these different categories and your 10 things to do if you are into this category.
Another fun idea is you could make it into like a scavenger hunt or like a bingo sheet or something like that to really get people involved too, and post your bingo sheet on social media, tag us, that kind of stuff. Yeah, hashtag.
That's amazing. That is awesome. So we're going to wrap up. I'm going to throw out a wrap up question and, maybe take about a minute and a half. What bit of impactful or powerful advice would you give to a PR student who's interested in events management and that going in that direction?
Okay, number one, it is a wonderful, fun career, but you got to be willing to work. I mean, really work, right? Again, it's not all cigs and martinis. We like to make it look like that because that's how we feel good about the decisions we made. But when you're standing at 2 a.m. on like a street and you're arguing with the police about why the closure shouldn't be lifted, that's real, right? That's real. And so you have to be willing to do the work. This job is not easy. It's hard. And it has a ton of great rewards. Second bit of advice, you have to be really okay seeing people have a good time. Like your personal satisfaction has to be seeing others have a lot of fun. The party's not for you. You are producing the event. And while it's awesome to see how it comes off, you're not eating from the food truck and drinking from the floating bar and rocking out in the front of the stage, right? Like you're not. The other thing is, and I'm not putting a damper on it, but I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up. Like the situation in Houston from this past weekend, that's real. That's real. And those producers, those event producers, folks, they have a very real responsibility. That should not have happened. That should have never, ever have happened. And you have to have plans in place to prevent that. You have to have communication channels. You have to have emergency procedures. You need to have if you are the producer of that event, 8 people cannot die at your event. That's horrible. And again, this is fun. This is good times. And I am a good time, Charlie. I love having a good time. But you have to take your risk assessment seriously. You have to take your meetings with offices of emergency management seriously, like first responders, all of that. Fire marshals, there are reasons that the fire departments have limits on how many people could be in a particular space at a particular time. You have to hire additional ambulance workers, all that stuff. It's the boring, not sexy part of this job, but it is the real part of this job, because those individuals that lost their lives going to a concert is a complete waste of life. Complete waste of life. We cannot have that anymore. And so understanding that bringing people together is a ton of fun and really joyful and really overwhelming at times. You have a responsibility to keep those people safe as well. And everything you do needs to be directed to keeping your attendees safe.
That's hard to follow, but no, that it's 100% true. And yeah, I think to just make sure that you've got a can-do attitude. Neil had mentioned it before, just really, you've got to be willing to put in the work. And I think along the lines of communication, being transparent about things is huge. Things can go wrong and things don't go to plan, but you need to just kind of own up to it and take the responsibility if it is something that is on you, and just make sure you're communicating that to everybody and try to have a solution in place. And, one piece of advice that I got when I was first starting out is that everything's figure outable. You can figure everything out, there are solutions to things. So just make sure that you're being resourceful and take a pause for a minute. I know sometimes things are happening so fast and furiously that you're like, oh, I got to do this right now. But take a second, take a deep breath, think about how you can figure it out, or think about who you can tap into who can help you figure it out. I think that's the other thing, is you're not alone. Like Neil said, it takes hundreds of people to put on some of these events. So you're not alone in it. People are there to help. You just have to ask for it, and you'll find a solution and a way to get there. Yeah, I think those are my biggest takeaways.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us today and sharing your insight. And we'll just put up our closing slides for today. So we want to, again, promote becoming a dues paying member really quickly. So it just started in October, so you're not too late to join. Getting a bunch of perks we can tell you about. Just email our advisor, Juliet, or any one of us, and get discounts, scholarships, all these types of things, $60 annually. Okay, sorry, my screen was frozen. And then right for our blog, the press. So Niffer, our VP of Digital, has a bunch of great opportunities for you if you want to get your stuff published, even if you wrote it for class or you want to republish it on our blog. She's begging you. So email her. It can be about anything, does not have to be about PR related. It can be writing about your favorite show and why you think something about it. We will publish it. So let us know. And join our Slack channel. This is really big. This is where we promote certain opportunities. Like, for example, this weekend, some of us went to see Katie Couric and Chance the Rapper at the Chicago Theater, and that was promoted in our Slack channel only. So definitely join that if you want to have like some exclusive opportunities that we'll only share in there. And then our big one is the conference that Holly mentioned. And of course, as Neil was talking about, join event planning opportunities. We have a whole board just planning this event. So if you want some experience, this is the place to do it. You will have a ton of opportunities to just do hands-on, like you'll be responsible for a specific part of the event, be able to own it, be able to say that I decided to do this Instagrammable part of the tour and gave this to people. You'll be able to really be hands-on with it. So let us know, let Holly know if you're interested. And then next, again, our YouTube channel, if you want to catch up. And then finally, just catch up with us online. So thank you all. Thank you to Neil. Thank you to Lauren. We'll hope to catch up with you in the future. We'll send out their information too if you want to catch them on LinkedIn or on their emails. And yes, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. All right, well, good night, everyone.
Thank you so much. And I'm so excited about the ideas for district. Thank you so much. That was worth its weight in gold.
It's great being here, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Neil. Bye, Lauren. Bye, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye, Matt.